Good morning, everybody. Here is the soap video that I promised a long time ago. I start with a melt and pour soap base. I order it wholesale. I cut the large blocks into manageable chunks and I store them in previously purchased containers. I ordered the melt and pour soap base through New Directions, which is located in Ontario. I use silicone beakers, which I ordered several of them through Amazon. My scale was ordered through Amazon, and that's what I use to weigh my soap base with. And I order my colorants either online or I buy them locally. I use 99% alcohol, that's purchased locally. And I use that to mix my colorants, which later on gets added to the soap base. Now there's a process and a procedure and a way to do all of this. You melt your soap, you add your colorants, you add your essential oils, mix it all together, and then you will do some of the pouring. So all of that will be illustrated through this video. The soap here is not quite melted, so I just sort of move it around in the beaker and then I put it back in for some of those 10-second bursts. Okay, let me explain here. You may see that I'm typing in or pressing in 22 seconds. I have a system where I fill up the beaker so much and then I press it for 33, then 22, then 11-second bursts. It just kind of makes it easier when I'm punching in the numbers on the microwave. And that's because I have a certain particular soap in mind and I know how long it's going to take to melt and get it down to the particular temperature that I want to use it for pouring. Everybody finds their own system and you use what works for you. This is some of the colorants that I purchased locally through the Michael's Craft store. I like the liquid colorants. There's no mixing. You don't have to mix your powder with your alcohol as I had done previously in the beginning of the video. You just take a few drops and add it to the soap base. Kind of makes it easy. At this point, my soap base is melted enough that I can add my colorant. The one I'm using here is the powder colorant that I mixed with the alcohol. I'm using a blue here, and if you use blue or red colorants, sometimes you want to be careful because depending on what you're using them for, what you're doing, they may seep into the rest of your product and distort the color and effect. This picture is an example of how the blue seeps into the white soap base. So you want to be careful. The effect there was okay, but for this particular soap, I'm using the banana coconut essential oil. Actually, it's not an essential oil, it's a fragrance oil, and there is a difference, so you need to be careful. Sometimes when people buy soaps, they just want essential oils. They don't want fragrance oils. Essential oils are more natural. So if you're selling your soaps or giving them away and saying this is a natural soap, you need to use an essential oil. When I'm working with my soaps, sometimes I write a little note as to what I'm doing because I might forget. And that helps when I go to put the labels on my product. I'm making little duck soaps. So I take a little bit of soap base and I secure them in the bottom just so that they don't float around when I add the rest of my soap base. I leave the bubbles because it's like these little guys are in their own little bathtub. These soaps are some of my best sellers. People seem to like them, especially for the kids. When you're making soap, if you don't want bubbles, then you spray it with a bit of the 99% alcohol. And if you're making layered soap, as in this case, I've secured it with a bit of soap base and then I'm adding the additional soap, you want to spray with alcohol in between so that the soap base will stick to the first layer and stick to your little additive here so that it doesn't separate from the soap or get lost. It's just a way to secure all the elements together. And just for consumer consumption or whatever, people say, you're using alcohol, but the heat of the soap is actually warm enough that the alcohol dissipates. So it's not really a problem. Back to the beginning of the process, this is an example of the big block of soap that I use, the soap base, and I chop it all up so that it's ready for me to pull out and use and weigh accordingly. Here are the little ducks. Little unicorn duck. Sometimes I embed other products. Sometimes I put little penguins in, which has also been a very popular soap. Thanks for watching, everybody. Under the sun.